I have been reborn. Back to that very day when Su Qing's father slammed a 10 million yuan check onto my face. In my previous life, I tore that check apart, and in return I only got a cold, disdainful smile on his lips and Su Zhang's frozen, icy gaze. For the next 10 years I lived like dust. I kept chasing her shadow, and in the end, at a business banquet, while trying to save her, I was stabbed to death by an enemy in a dark alley. Even at the moment of death, the last thing I saw was that same emotionless face of hers, as if I were just some meaningless stranger. But this time, I will not sell all my self-respect and become someone's licking dog. So I calmly extended my hand and picked up the check. I looked up at Su Qing. A bright, almost grateful smile appeared on my face. "Thank you, uncle." My voice wasn't loud, but it echoed through the luxurious VIP room as if the sky had been torn apart. All the words Su Jinghua had prepared got stuck in his throat. His dignified, stern face suddenly turned into shock. He must have thought I would refuse in 100 ways, but he never imagined I would smile and say thank you. Beside him, Xiao Yu, who had a mocking smile earlier, froze as well, as if someone had grabbed his throat. And Su Qing, the ice goddess who never showed emotions, her stone-like expression cracked slightly for the first time. Her pupils shrank, her lips parted, but no sound came out. I folded the check carefully and placed it in the pocket of my faded jeans. Then I stood up, gave Su Jinghua a slight bow, and said, "Uncle, from today onward, I will not trouble Miss Su at all." Then I looked at Su Qing. "For disturbing you these past 3 years, I'm sorry. I wish your life to be bright and smooth." Su Qing's body trembled slightly. For the first time, she truly looked at me. There was no coldness in her eyes now, only deep, unwavering disbelief. I turned and started walking out. Just then, a voice came from behind. "Chen Nan, I thought you had some courage. But turns out you're just a weak person who bows the moment he sees money. You sold 10 years of feelings for 10 million yuan. Pathetic." My steps paused for just a moment. In my previous life, hearing these exact words made me lose control and attack him like a madman, and his bodyguards beat me half to death. But this time, I simply turned around slowly. There was no anger in my eyes, only faint pity. "Second young master, are you joking? First, it wasn't 10 years, it was 13. Second, it wasn't feelings, it was just my one-sided obsession. Third, this isn't selling, it's fair compensation for my 3 years of effort. After all, being a licking dog also takes time and effort, right? 10 million is a perfect amount." I opened the heavy wooden door of the VIP room and walked out without looking back. Behind me, only dead silence remained. After leaving the hotel, when the sunlight fell on my eyes, it stung a little. I took out the check and looked at those numbers. So real it almost made me cry. To hell with love. To hell with self-respect. I've already lived through darkness once. This time, it's only about money. I didn't go to the bank immediately. Su Jinghua was too cunning. What if he had put a hold on the check or it was fake? I knew his tricks. I took a taxi and went back to my slum-like rented room. It was less than 10 square meters, filled with dampness, stench, and the smell of instant noodles. This was the place where I had lived for 3 years in my previous life, just because it was close to Su Qing's school. I opened my old laptop, 5 years old, and after lagging for a while, it finally turned on. I leaned back in my chair and started thinking. After rebirth, what is the greatest advantage? Information. The next 10 years of the economy, what stocks will rise, which industries will boom. I know everything. I opened stock market software and entered a code. Tough technology. I remember it clearly. Tomorrow this small, insignificant company announce a chip patent, and its stock will skyrocket from 5 yuan to 200 yuan. I picked up my phone and called Su Qing. "Your belongings are at my place. I've packed everything and left it by the door. Send someone to pick it up. I'm changing my number, so there's no need to contact me anymore." I hung up, broke the SIM card, and threw it in the trash. For the first time, the world felt quiet. The next morning, I went to the bank, and surprisingly, the check cleared easily. A long string of numbers appeared in my account. Only then did I truly realize my new life had begun. Without hesitation, I transferred the entire 9.9 million yuan into my stock account and went all in on tough technology. As soon as I walked out of the stock exchange, a huge burden seemed to lift off my chest. Now, all I had to do was wait. I didn't return to that filthy rented room. Instead, I went straight to the most expensive hotel in the city and booked a high-end suite. I lay in the bathtub, drank cold champagne, and watched the city's dazzling night through the large window. It felt a little strange. In my previous life, I used to stand outside such hotels, looking up and imagining that maybe Su Qing was inside, attending some penthouse party. Lost in that thought, my phone suddenly vibrated. A message from an unknown number. It was Su Qing. "Where are you? Did you throw away everything I gave you?" It seemed she had gone through the effort of finding my new number. The things she had given me, a pen, a notebook, items she herself never used, as if they were charity. Yet I had foolishly treasured them like priceless possessions. I didn't reply. I blocked her immediately. Then I called room service. "Hello, arrange 2 professional masseuses. In this life, I will treat myself well." Over the next week, I lived a life I had never even dreamed of before. I woke up whenever I wanted, had premium breakfasts at the hotel's rooftop restaurant, spent afternoons at the gym or pool, and nights in Yangqing's high-end nightlife. I threw away my cheap clothes and slippers and bought perfectly tailored suits. It's true, clothes make the man. When I wore that tailored suit with a Patek Philippe on my wrist and entered any high-end place, people simply smiled and nodded. No stares, no contempt. Money truly is the strongest shield a man can have. I didn't even have the time to check Tough Technology's stock. That night, I invited 2 hot models to Yunding Tiangong, the top private club in Yangqing. The music was so loud you couldn't even hear your own breathing. Lights, crowds, expensive perfumes, and the scent of money floated in the air. In my previous life, I wasn't even qualified to step inside this place. Now, I was sitting at a VIP table, where every gaze turned toward me. "Young Master Chen, have another drink." A model leaned close and spoke softly. I smiled slightly and was about to touch her cheek when my gaze froze in the corner. Su Qing. What was she doing here? She was with Xiao Yu and a few rich second-generation elites. Xiao Yu was bragging loudly while Su Qing remained cold and detached, as always. She saw me too. Shock, doubt, and then disgust flashed in her eyes. Yes, disgust. In her eyes, I was still the same person who took her father's money and started living lavishly. To her, I was trash. Xiao Yu followed her gaze, and a vulgar grin spread across his face. He pushed through the crowd and came to my table. Well, isn't this Chen Nan? The famous great romantic Chen Nan. His voice was loud enough for the whole club to hear. What's the matter? Came here to spend Uncle Su's 10 million? Feeling like you've reached the peak of life? The boys behind him burst into laughter, calling me a licking dog and worse. The 2 models looked uncomfortable and started to get up, but I gestured lightly for them to sit. I picked up my whiskey glass and swirled it slowly, not even bothering to look at them. Young Master Xiao, long time no see. How's your family business? I heard your group's overseas projects are facing some issues. His face stiffened. What nonsense are you talking about? I took a small sip. The Southeast Asia's Seaport project got scrapped due to policy changes, and the European Chip Agency snatched it away. At least a 500 million loss, right? This was future news I had read in my past life. Xiao Yu's face turned completely pale. This was top secret information, known only to the board of directors. Did you investigate me? I placed the glass on the table and looked into his eyes. Young Master Xiao, you think too highly of yourself. You're not even worth that. I stood up, towering over him. Take care of your own company's losses before barking at others. The laughter in the club slowly died down. The atmosphere changed completely. Xiao Yu's face went from pale to red to yellow, but he couldn't say a single word. I didn't even look at him again. I took out cash from my wallet and placed it on the table. Thanks, ladies. Take a cab home. Then I straightened my suit, fixed my collar, and walked forward. I paused for a second in front of Su Qing. The shock in her eyes was even deeper now. She probably couldn't understand how the poor, timid boy from a few days ago had become so cold, sharp, and unfamiliar. I gave a faint, meaningful smile. Classmate Su, learn to recognize people. Then I walked away, leaving behind a crowd of stunned faces and the chill of my footsteps. The problem isn't that you're out of reach. The problem is that I no longer bother looking up at you. After leaving the club, I didn't return to the hotel. I drove straight to the airport. Yun City was the root of all the pain from my past life. Now that I had my first big sum of money, there was no reason to stay. By morning, the plane had already taken off. Destination Modu. The international city filled with gold and opportunities. Lying in the first-class seat, I turned off my phone and fell into a deep sleep. Opened my eyes, the plane had already landed at Pudong International Airport. The moment I stepped outside, the dangerous sense of freedom in Moda's air felt like the beginning of a warrior's new journey. I didn't rush to buy a house. Instead, I went straight to a luxury serviced apartment along the Huangpu River and booked a long-term suite. From the 360-degree glass windows, the dazzling night of the bun shone below, and I realized this was the real stage for me. The next day, as soon as the market opened, my broker called, his voice trembling. Mr. Chin, it's locked at the upper limit. Tough technology hit the ceiling. I replied calmly. Hold. Don't touch it below 150. After hanging up, I started planning my next move. Stocks were just fast money, not a stable foundation. I needed to build my own empire, a business kingdom that would only grow stronger over time. Based on my memories from my past life, I knew that in the coming years, 3 sectors would change the world: internet technology, healthcare, new energy vehicles, and artificial intelligence. I spent an entire week creating a detailed business plan. I was going to establish my own investment firm and invest in future startups. A month later, just as I had calculated, tough technology surged from 5 yuan to 150 yuan. My 9.9 million turned into nearly 300 million. Without hesitation, I sold all my shares and secured the profit. That same day, Wanchao Capital was born. My office was set up on the top floor of Moda's Global Financial Center in Lijiazui. I began hiring top analysts and traders from the market, offering salaries far higher than the industry standard. At first, they were skeptical, a 20 to 22-year-old owning an investment firm. But after I predicted 3 U.S. stock market crashes in advance and led them to short sell, earning $50 million in a single day, their perception changed. Doubt turned into respect, and eventually into worship. In their eyes, I wasn't just a boss, I was like a god. My life became filled with meetings, deals, reports, and interactions with powerful figures. Gradually, I forgot about Yun City, Su Qing, and that dark past life. But one day, my secretary brought me an envelope. Sir, next week there's an international business summit at Xing Exhibition Center. This is an invitation from the organizing committee. I glanced at it casually, but my hand stopped when I saw a name on the list, Su Group. Like a ghost from the past, it had appeared again. Rejected, I said. The secretary hesitated. Sir, this is a major summit. Half of the global top 500 companies will attend. And Mr. Li from the organizing committee specifically requested your presence. Mr. Li, the son of Hong Kong's richest businessman and the main organizer of the summit. In my previous life, I had only seen him in the news. Now, he was inviting me personally. It seemed Wanchao Capital's reputation had already spread beyond Modu. Fine, I said. Let's go. Let's see how the Su family's faces fall. And yes, I had already prepared a big gift for them. Week later, I arrived at the summit venue. The moment I stepped into the hall, someone grabbed my collar hard. It was Xiao Yu. His eyes were bloodshot, his face looked like he had lost everything in gambling. Chen Nan, what did you do? How did my family's seaport project get stopped? You did this, didn't you? His hand trembled. He was on the verge of collapse. Just half a month ago, he had been arrogant and untouchable. Now, he was nothing but a trembling joke in front of me. I remained calm, so calm it even felt strange to myself. Young Master Xiao, this suit is very expensive. You probably can't afford to replace it now. I grabbed his hand and twisted it slightly. He screamed in pain and stumbled back, letting go of my collar. I straightened my suit. The feeling of control was 100 times better than the humiliating helplessness of my past life. Wanchao capital, where did this capital come from? How do you know my family's secrets? He asked, panting. I smiled faintly. You should thank Uncle Su for that 10 million. It gave me the chance to buy tough technology. It also dug the first grave for your Xiao family. His face turned pale. The humiliation his father once inflicted on me had now become the cause of their downfall. At that moment, a girl stepped out from the crowd. White dress, cold eyes, filled with shock, Su Qing. Chen Nan, do you really have to be this ruthless? She asked. I looked at her, the face I once worshipped like a goddess for 10 years. But now, there wasn't even a ripple in my heart. Miss Su, business is war. When Xiao Yu was suppressing me, did you think it was ruthless? Her lips moved slightly, but no words came out. I didn't even spare her another glance and walked straight into the VIP area under everyone's gaze. Stop barking like a mad dog, I said coldly. You're not even qualified to be my opponent anymore. I walked toward Mr. Li, the son of Hong Kong's richest man. We clinked glasses lightly. The conversation went smoothly. Wanchao Capital and the Li Group would collaborate on new energy projects. I knew this step would solidify my foundation like stone. Mr. Chen, the new generation is truly impressive, Mr. Li said with admiration. You handled the Xiao family perfectly. I replied calmly. Just went with the flow. After seeing Mr. Li off, I was about to. Perfectly. I replied calmly. Just went with the flow. After seeing Mr. Li off, I was about to leave the lounge when the door opened again. Su Qing stood there. This time, there was no coldness or arrogance on her face. Only exhaustion and regret I had never seen before. Chen Nan, can we talk? Not about business. Just talk. I sat back on the sofa and poured myself a glass of water. In my past life, if she had spoken to me like this, my heart would have shattered instantly. But now, it felt like a waste of time. Miss Su, I have a multinational conference call. You have 3 minutes. You didn't used to call me that, she said softly. That 10 million, my father just wanted to test you. He didn't expect things to go this far. I almost laughed out loud and had to clear my throat. Test? Throwing 10 million in my face and having bodyguards push me out, that's your idea of a test? If you came here just to say something this meaningless, you can leave. And thanks for the 10 million. It taught me that dignity is far more valuable than love. Su Qing froze. Tears shimmered in her eyes. I stood up and walked past her without even turning my head. Miss Su, don't talk about feelings again. Between us, only business remains. I left the lounge, the sunlight hitting me as if the world's brightness had been turned up. Strangely, after letting go of that obsession, even the air felt cleaner. On the 3rd day after returning to Modu, Su Jinghua called. His voice no longer carried authority, only anxiety. I was sitting in my top-floor office at Wanchao Capital, overlooking the Bund. I pressed the speaker button. Chen Nan, what exactly do you want? You took the Xiao family's project, and now you're buying scattered shares of the Su Group. I replied calmly. Uncle Su, you taught me yourself. Business is about interests. The Su Group looks like a profitable investment to me. What's the problem? The sound of glass shattering came from the other end. It was clear, the chairman W. was shaken. In my previous life, he had treated me worse than an insect. Now, even his breathing depended on my decisions. You're taking revenge. You're destroying the Su family because of Ching, he said. I smiled faintly. You overestimate Miss Su. Revenge? No. This is just a profitable deal. I hung up and blacklisted his number. On the screen, Su Group's stock chart fluctuated up and down. Inside, I felt an unusual calm. The company looked glamorous on the outside, but it was rotten within. It only needed a small push to collapse like a sandcastle. President Chen, Miss Su Qing is downstairs. She insists on seeing you, my secretary said. I glanced at my watch and smiled coldly. Half a month ago, I wasn't even qualified to step into the Su family's gate. Now, their proud Miss Su was waiting downstairs. Let her wait. Finish the report first. I took a sip of coffee. Its bitterness spread across my tongue, strangely satisfying. I wanted Su Jingwa to understand the price of that 10 million check he had thrown at me. 2 hours later, Su Qing finally entered my office. She looked exhausted, helpless, and weak. Even makeup couldn't hide her dark circles. She held a folder tightly, the Su Group's last SOS. Chenan, please stop. I'm practically begging you. My father isn't well. If the Su Group falls, he won't be able to take it. I turned my chair and looked at her, the girl who once meant everything to me. In my previous life, I died trying to save her, and she didn't even attend my funeral. Now, her pleading felt like a joke. Miss Su, when someone begs, their body language should be different, I said, glancing at the agreement in her hand. I'm not interested. What do you want? We'll accept any condition to save the Su Group, she said desperately. I stood up and walked toward her. She instinctively stepped back. I took the file from her hand and fed it into the shredder. I want 51% controlling shares. And Su Jingwa must publicly apologize to me in front of the whole world. Impossible. My father would never agree. I returned to my seat and lit a cigar. Then there's nothing more to talk about. Miss Su, before the market closes tomorrow, I'll complete the final acquisition. After that, your family won't just lose the company, you'll also be buried under massive debt. Su Qing collapsed into the chair, as if her soul had shattered. She looked at me like I was a demon. But I knew, I was only reclaiming what was mine. Get out. And don't interfere with my money-making, I said coldly. She staggered out of the office. Watching her back, the last trace of mercy in me disappeared. The game had only just begun. The Su family was merely the first stone of my business empire. Sitting in my car, I watched debt collectors gathering below the Su Group building. Su Jingwu was probably hiding in his office, desperately calling his so-called old friends to save himself. In my previous life, these same people had assured him at dinner tables, "Don't worry, we've got your back." Now that I wanted the shares in their hands, they lectured me about market price. Through the listening device, I heard his screams, and a cold smile spread across my lips. He still didn't understand. There are no permanent friends, only permanent interests. And I had already paid Lai triple. If Chairman Su doesn't apologize, I'll make this fire burn even stronger. I hung up and signaled my secretary. Start Phase 2. Within 10 minutes, news of Su Group's financial fraud hit the front pages of major financial portals. Just one of my prepared gifts. Every number, every piece of data was a surgical strike on their fate. A terrified voice came through. Impossible. Only top insiders know these books. Chen, how did you get them? I glanced at the sealed window on the top floor, imagining Su Jingwu's broken face.